Welcome aboard the AM show once more. We're here at Job 600, yes, doing that job for God and country, bringing you bits and pieces that you need to know about on the political terrain, on the current affairs terrain. But today finds us here in the office of the Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboi in the person of Yusuf Sulemana. We've been here before. We're back, especially as we get ready to kickstart another parliamentary session, another year. But without much ado, let me welcome aboard Sulemana, Yusuf Sulemana.
Yes, Ben.
Joining
How are
the
you?
conversation. I'm okay.
Great.
I'm okay.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. It's the first time we're meeting this year. How have you been? How's your constituency?
My constituency, we thank God. Everything is going on well. I mean, I was there somewhere 23rd
of December.
I mean, we rose 22nd. And in fact, it was even 23rd that we rose because we were here until dawn. And so by 12 o'clock, I was on the flight to Tamale and then to Bole. And I've been there, I mean, I was there for over 3 weeks. Came back, spent 4 days here and went back. And I just returned not quite long. So the constituency is solid. I've been able to touch base with most of the people that I was supposed to visit. I have quite a number of airways in the constituency. Very difficult to reach out to them, especially during the rainy season. But I've been able to reach out to them during this dry season. We have some from a community called Malu, where you travel deep into the bush, and then you meet them by the riverside, by the Bui Dam side, at a place called Bole. Had very nice interactions with them. Then I moved to Tenga. Same thing, you have to travel down there and to meet the airways around that area. Very lovely people. And then I proceeded to Bandang Konta, traveled to another community where I met with them. And then I ended it at Jama, where we have some airways at the market. And we had some problem there.
This was an ever visit, eh?
Yes, so the first phase was an ever visit, you know, and it went on very well. I shared the little that I could share with them in terms of rice, sugar, because it was Christmas and New Year period. And I also realized they didn't have electricity, and so I went with some solar lanterns.
There's no electricity in that
community? Those areas, yes. So they are new settlements. So I also went and gave them some solar lanterns, and I think they were happy with me. We had a very good conversation, and we are picking it from there. As new settlements, they will need schools, they will need polyclinics.
I don't mean to interrupt, but yes. How long ago were these settlements created?
Yeah, so some 2-3 years ago.
2-3 years.
Yes, and especially in 2019, most of them started in 2019. And I've been in touch with them since then. And they're doing well, they are settling down, and they're creating communities. And so we think that we should be able to integrate them into our system. I mean, the traditional system, the administrative system, we should be able to integrate them into our system. Then we move on.
If I asked you about the quality of life of the people of Bole Bamboi on the back of your leadership, what would you say on a scale of 1 to 10? What would you say maybe when you took off it was and what it is now?
But this is a difficult question you've asked me. I alone cannot impact on the lives of the people, so I'm able to even give a percentage or give a grade as to how their lives are today. Starting from when I took over. Don't forget, this is a different administration, and I can tell you on record that, look, there are so many things that ordinarily every government should have been interested in doing for the people of Bole Bamboi, but for some reason this administration has turned deaf ears to our plea. They have closed their eyes on our concerns. And so, and some of the infrastructure activities that if we're able to get them done would have impacted on their lives. So I cannot sit here and say that their lives are better, and it's not my fault. It is because government has not lived up to its expectations. There are communities where We are taking electricity to those communities. A place like Bogoda, a place like Bekwekura, a place like Noiri and what have you. We took the light there. What was left was just the transformers. 6-7 years down the line, they haven't had these transformers.
The transformers have never come.
No, they haven't given them these transformers. I have followed up with questions on the floor. I've gone to the Ministry of Energy several times. Take the places like Chibrinua. I went to the place, encouraged the chiefs to even go to the minister. They did all that, but they were not giving these transformers. And so you know what happens when you have electricity in the community. Economic activities will boom up, and that will translate into the lives of the people. And so clearly they are waiting for Mama to come and save them.
Beyond what government will do, and when I posed that question, I was looking purely at what, maybe not even what is expected of a member of parliament, but because parliamentarians have taken on those duties. I was looking at it purely from that angle, not necessarily that of any government coming in, because we know it's a collaborative affair. But let me ask you about, yes, staying on parliament. It's another year, it's another session you're about to start in parliament, which will take us into 2025, right? What are your expectations of the 8th Parliament in its final year? The storied history of the 8th Parliament, from the inception where there was the tussle in Parliament, voting, is it Carlos Ahenkra running with ballot papers? It was Carlos, right?
Sure.
And then the chase, and then the beating, and then Alban Bagman becoming historically first leader of parliament, speaker from the opposition. What are your expectations for this year?
Ben, I think this year is going to be a very smooth year. Things will fall in line. I don't think we'll see that kind of aggressive approach to policies and programs that government will introduce. I'm saying this because government has virtually nothing to introduce. No any new thing will be coming to us. I do not think that government will be coming in with policies that will impose more taxes on the people, where we will say we will not agree. You would have even heard that they are trying to backtrack with some of the policies, the tax policies that they have introduced. And
then we'll get there.
And so, again, given the kind of primaries that they went through, where the presidential candidate is alleged to have supported some candidates against sitting MPs, and some of these sitting MPs have lost. I do not think that they will get it easy whipping them in line to do things that ordinarily these MPs wouldn't have done. It's a fact that sometimes as a person, your government introduces a policy, within you, you feel that this is not a good policy. But because sometimes we run the whip system, you are forced more or less to accept it. I can tell you this time, this government is not going to get that from their own members of parliament. Rightly so, because of the way they've been treated. Because if you have a certain MP, you go and sponsor a candidate to unseat him, and you think that he should come to parliament and still cooperate with you, it will be difficult. So I do not think that we'll have those kind of...
we have indeed heard of some such stories and some such lamentations. We get to hear of these, but I do not know how much currency you can give that. It is their party, and I don't know, but give or take, that party has given them certain opportunities. They have led. Some go and some come, right?
No, so just go back and look at what happened during the e-levy time with Adwoa Safo. Clearly, we all knew that Adwoa Safo was not happy when she was changed from leadership. And so it translated into her attitude during the e-levy period. And I'm saying that many more of them are ready to do Westerns. And so government will suffer. And for us...
You're saying this for a fact based on interactions?
I'm telling you, I've listened to quite a number of them. Just yesterday...
I'm asking, is it interactions on TV, radio, or you've had personal interactions
with these MPs? I don't want to mention names. Even some who voluntarily did not contest are peeved. And they're saying that we should watch and see what will happen on the floor. And they are encouraging us. I can swear to you, I've met quite a number of members of parliament from their side who are saying that you guys must win this election. It's a must for you. Win this election. Our party needs to go back to the drawing table and begin a new set of arrangement. Because
you're telling me NPP MPs are telling you this?
Not one, not two. Okay? So, and on our side, we're going to listen to Ghanaians. Wise will represent them on the floor of Parliament. And what Ghanaians who say we don't want, that is what we're going to ensure that government doesn't do that to them. If the Ghanaian people are saying that we don't want the imposition of taxes, I can tell you we're going to resist any imposition of taxes. If the Ghanaian people are saying that we do not want anything to be introduced in this parliament, that is what we are going to do. We're not going to do anything different from what the people of this country expect us to do. As an opposition, we need to ensure that government doesn't have it all to do whatever they want. Thank God Ghanaians have given us very good numbers, 137, 138, and I can tell you they're not going to get it easy from their side. Many of them will not come to Parliament. Many of them, when they even come, I can tell you, if it is secret ballot, they will vote for us. And that's where we have gotten to. And that is the beauty of democracy.
You said something about taxes and levies and how strong a force the NDC would be. You've not proven to be that strong force. We have, quite a number of examples. Budgets that have passed even in spite of vehement protests from Labour, among others. The e-levy you were mentioning is one of them. So why should people believe that in 2024, all of a sudden, and even if they believed you, wouldn't be for political reasons? Why should Ghanaians believe your party?
No, Ben, I think I blame this on the kind of system, the constitutional arrangement we have, okay? Where, for instance, this budget that was passed, we had listed some tax handlers and said that we're not going to support them. And we organized a press conference, we went on TV, we went on radio to educate the Ghanaian people that these are the kind of taxes that they're going to impose on you. Talk about the emission tax, talk about the imposition of tax on electricity consumption, and many, many other taxes that we were able to articulate very well to the Ghanaian people. And we even went beyond to tell them the impact that it was going to create on them. Okay? And so when we got to Parliament on the voting day, we said we're not going to vote for these policies. And so the first one we voted and they won. They won because one of our members was sick and was not in this country. And then we realized that if we were to vote, it was going to take the same trend. So we distanced ourselves from those tax handles, but they carried the day. So yes, one could say that Parliament passed those policies.
But by stepping away, some would say that you should have fulfilled your parliamentary duty. Vote so that we count and we know that X number was against and Y was for. You failed in your constitutional duty.
No, we didn't.
To the ordinary Ghanaian.
We didn't because we voted. The first one we voted and we lost. And see, this is not the first time we have seen this. I've told you that the constitutional arrangement that we have in this country is not helpful. Where in the situation where government says that this is what I want, government is able to whip all their members of parliament, to go that direction. It's unfortunate. And this is not the first time it has started. If there's anything we can do to change it, we must do it. So that members of parliament can have the free will to do what they want to do. Let me tell you, those who kicked against e-levy first, talk about Eugene and Co. Government followed up and ensured that they lost the elections. Listen to what my good friend and brother Apia Kubi said. Because he was one of those opposing and asking that the finance minister should resign because of the imposition of taxes and other inimical policies. Okay? They followed him to ensure that they get him out. He was just
do you actually believe that happened? I've had a number in confidence. I've had some people, even members of parliament, share a few things with me. But do you actually believe that happened?
I believe in that. It's clear.
You're saying manipulation took place?
No, they will follow you and ensure that they use money to get you out. And so sometimes, these are some of the problems. And so for us from the minority side, we have stated our position clearly on issues of taxation, and we have said that we're not going to support them. And even as we speak, we are in line with, we are in agreement with TUC that they should demonstrate. You see, if TUC had even started a demonstration at the time we were talking about these policies, I don't think we would have even gotten to this level. But civil society, the clergy, and all those who matter, including the media, left their work to us. We did our bit. Today, they are beginning to implement the policies, and people are anticipating the hardship that these policies will bring to bear on us. And now we are talking. Thank God, it's late, but I think we'll get results. But the difficulty is that this government cannot, okay, or let me reframe my statement, it will be difficult for them to do away with this 15% on the electricity.
How so?
The truth of the matter is that
we've been told that cabinet has met, there have been meetings,
now,
and that there's a contemplation to let go of it. You heard Nana B, a stalwart of the NPP, come out and say that it shouldn't be implemented. We've heard from the ECG's boss, Samuel Dubik Mahama, say that, they don't even know how they'll go about it. But we know that government needs this money, right?
Yes.
To meet certain requirements as far as the IMF is concerned. It's not to say that's the only route they can use, but this way or that way, they need that money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
So where was Nana B when we were talking about these taxes on the floor of Parliament and on radio and on TV and all of that?
To be fair to him, he's not a decision maker, is he? These decisions are taken at the level of cabinet. He's not on cabinet, is he?
So today he's now calling on cabinet and calling on the Minister of Finance to do away with it. So he could have done same at the time we were talking. This is hypocrisy. He's come to realize that they are in election year and that he's focusing on the political negativities that they are going to embrace as a result of the imposition of this tax. Not because he's feeling for Ghanaians. He's just thinking that this will finally kill their administration, and so they should, as it were, call on their own government to do away with it. Where were they when all these decisions were taken at cabinet level? Is he saying that he was not in this country? The ECG was. Is he saying that he was not consulted?
So you're calling them what? Political hypocrites?
And let me tell you, Ben.
No. Are you calling them hypocrites?
Yes. They are just trying to see a way through to make their government look good, which is not going to wash. Let me tell you what is happening. We are all in this country, and we are all politicians, and we nose around to get information from where we're supposed to get it. Now, before they came to read the budget, the IMF had put to them two options. Okay? That there's a need for you to raise revenue to the tune of 0.2% of the GDP of the 2024 budget. That's one option. Another option is that reduce expenditure by 0.2% of GDP. Choose one. The government decided that, look, this is an election year, we need money to spend. This is an election year, we need to do things for Ghanaians to be happy with us. So we have to implement some projects. And so we will go in for tax imposition. And so, yes, 15% imposition of tax on electricity consumption will give us the 0.2% of GDP.
No, but
and so that's the option we want to go
I don't know how logically, doing some logical analysis, logical reasoning with this, I don't see how it washes from where you're coming.
Sure.
Because, listen, if it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Okay.
If you're saying you're going to embark on developmental projects so that the people vote for you, yet you're going to be taxing the people, I don't see. Do you get it? It means that your aim will not necessarily...
No,
not necessarily pan out. So I don't know whether they are implementing this because they don't want to give off on projects that they may embark on, and yet they want to tax the people. I don't see the correlation.
That's exactly my point, and that's exactly the point. I mean, the direction they want to go. That, you know what, this election year, we need cash, we need money. There are instances where we can use this money directly to influence individuals.
Is this a case of party no hiasika?
There are instances where some strategic projects will have to be executed, and we need money to do that. So let's take the money and go and do those projects and look good in the sight of the people. That we are able to commission projects in an election year. That we are able to dish out money for our campaign activities. And so going in for the 0.2% GDP, we should get that from taxation, hence the imposition of the 15% tax on electricity. The other option could have been for them to reduce expenditure. And you know the impact of it? One of them would have been to reduce the size of government. Can you imagine if today Nana Addo is reducing his ministers? The negative impact it will create on even the party. Can you imagine today the numerous government appointees that are hovering around the Flagstaff House doing nothing? If he doesn't them to go home, you think their families and they themselves will vote for the party? You think the secrets that they know about the government, they won't expose them? So it's between choosing, you know, reducing size of government, reducing your expenditure, and imposing taxes on the Ghanaian. And they have decided that, why not? Let's impose taxes on them. And that is where we are. Now they have imposed the tax. Ghanaians are crying. World Bank is saying, choose. We'll still give you the option. You can still choose today. If they are saying that they'll come back to Parliament and read a new budget, and in that budget they will reduce expenditure, World Bank is fine with that. Anything apart from this, you have to implement the 15% imposition of tax. And that is why, if you watch TUC very well, these are very intelligent people handling that organization. They are not in a rush to say that we will not continue with our demonstration because Cabinet has decided that they are going to reduce it. This government should write officially to TUC and all those who matter to Parliament and say that, look, we are reversing the 15% that we are imposing. But you see, I've heard something in the media, and let us all put it on record, that, oh, this imposition of tax on electricity started under John Mahama, and that he started it. Yes, that idea came up. And it was part of the value, the VAT policy and VAT law. Then Mahama in 2013 said that, look, this couldn't be implemented because it's going to put so much hardship on my people. So they didn't implement it. Since 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, he didn't implement it. But it was still in the bill, in the acts. Now, 2017, you came. You didn't scrap it. You were there scrapping all sorts of taxes you call nuisance taxes. You didn't scrap it. 2022, 23, 2024, election year, you are implementing it. How insensitive. And so nobody should compare Mahama's idea of putting it there and not implementing it to their idea of implementing it under these hardship conditions.
Right. Staying on the bit about levies and taxes, there's also the emissions levy, the eco tax, if you like. And people have spoken about that in terms of what the ripple effects will be. Some have said that these twin taxes, the VAT on electricity and this, are bound to create problems, economic problems for the generality of the people. What's your reaction?
First of all, the emission tax, you know, as articulated by the minority leader. And I was with him when we went to the party office to organize a press conference on these matters. We said it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense.
Why not?
If you want to impose a tax handle or a tax policy, there are so many reasons for which you impose it. One, it may be that you want to bring in revenue. So your target is revenue, and we all know that this is what you want to get. It could be that you want to discourage the use of certain things. For instance,
like tobacco, alcohol.
Tobacco, alcohol, you want to put so much tax on them in order that they become expensive and the people will not patronize it. That's another reason. Tell me, what is the reason for the emission tax? We are told that it should reduce.
Here in Accra, for example, we have the air quality index pointing to the fact that in the last few days, I think around Sunday, we hit the highest in the world among that. Are those not reason enough? You have global warming and its devastating effects. I mean, if it is targeted properly, is it not a tax handle that
so how will it be targeted properly and it will reduce emission? Are you saying that the number of days you use your car, you pay tax according to the number of days, so that if I'm going to pay high, there are days I will not use it, so I will emit what is it called?
It may not necessarily be so.
I'm just giving you
tackling.
So tell me, how will it be done in a way that it will reduce emission and that it will inure to the benefit of the climate? The problem is this.
You are the lawmaker.
We just copy wrongly. Okay, there are jurisdictions where today they are moving into electric vehicles, and they have gone far with it. You go to those countries, there are manufacturers who are doing electric vehicles. Those electric vehicles, in some cases, are subsidized, so people patronize them. That's one. Two, those vehicles, everywhere you go, there are charging centers where the vehicle user can easily stop and charge the vehicle. Now, if you impose taxes on Ghanaians who are using vehicles in this country, that will not stop them from using the vehicles. And that will not stop them from emitting what is it called, air. And so, virtually, that couldn't be the reason that you are imposing taxes because you want to reduce the usage of vehicles. So clearly, you're not getting it there. Now, let's look at the amount of money it's going to rake in. I haven't done the calculations, but roughly, if you want to juxtapose the inflows, the revenue that you are going to get, vis-a-vis the impact it's going to create and the hardship that it's going to put on Ghanaians, it's not worth it. Again,
are you suggesting this is going to be another e-levy? Which will fail to achieve its targets?
Where's an e-levy? Where's an e-levy? And the social impact of it is something we must also look at. Now, if I were an Okada rider, because Okada guys are going to pay, the Prajia people are going to pay. That's money. Yes.
No, I'm not saying it isn't.
Yeah. So what is going to happen is that it's going to lead to an increase in fares. If I use Okada, I'll now have to build this into my pricing. Okay. So again, hardship on the Ghanaian. When in natural fact, we don't even know the reason why you are bringing that tax handle. Because if it is to reduce emission, it's not going to reduce emission. There are no electric vehicles in this country. And so how is it going to impact on the climate? So clearly, they got it wrong. But you see, somebody told me that, look, there's some money sitting somewhere that if you are able to implement such policies, you are going to get those monies from those organizations.
Are you talking of carbon credits?
Carbon credits. And that is the motivation. But you see, you don't take such decisions. But that is also a reality. But you don't take such decisions at the expense of your people. Okay? So one would have thought that we'll take our time, encourage people to use electric vehicles, or government can take a policy and say that, look, all government vehicles, let's go electric in the next 2-3 years. And to do that, we'll get a company that will come in here and set us up. Get sentences where we can easily charge our vehicles and all of that. Before you think of imposing such taxes, this tax that they have imposed on us is useless. It has no any impact in terms of even raking in reasonable revenues.
What I'm curious about, should an NDC government come in future, and this is where I usually get concerned with the politics in our country, whether you would maintain some of these tax handles or do away with them. We've seen the NPP, it called some taxes, nuisance taxes, took a number of them off, and now they've added so many more. And that is the ping pong that you politicians tend to play.
Ben, one thing I want you to know is that...
Quick reactions, and then I'll bring in the Public Accounts Committee.
One thing that I want you to know is that the NDC is a credible party. The NDC is
That's the same thing.
The NDC, I'm coming to that. The NDC is led by credible people. The NDC is a party that believes in the future of the Ghanaian.
Okay.
And so I can assure you that whatever we are saying that we will do away with, when Mama is in government, he will do away with it.
All right.
And he will not do away with it and Nicodemously bring in similar policies or similar tax handles. He won't do it.
All right. You're not talking to me, you're talking to ordinary Ghanaians.
Yes, and I'm saying that.
And when we get there, yes, I mean, they will decide. And,
I know that
should you get the nod, they will judge you.
Inshallah, I know that I will be alive at that time and come and ask me if we are doing anything contrary to what we oppose. We are not going to behave like
you're on the Public Accounts Committee, and it appears every year. You know, I'm honestly, personally, I am sick and tired of the different accounts that come up. I was just reading of one today, the National Sports Authority, and I don't know, especially when it comes to sports in Ghana. You look at the games we're preparing for, and you would find that the team usually would struggle for small money, so to speak, compared to what we would pump into a Black Stars team, $8.5 million, with nothing to show. There must be something in football, for example, that makes people want to fight, just as I believe there's something in Parliament that makes you and your team, NPP, NDC, always willing to give so much just to become parliamentarians. In recent times, I've had people share with me how they spent millions in primaries just trying to become members of parliament. Why would you want to do that if there weren't something in there? But let's focus on the public.
No, but I can't leave this.
And why we keep hearing of these very dastardly criminal actions, and they are going on. What is it? What's going on?
Ben, you're not the only person who is sad when it comes to the findings that we see anytime we sit at the Public Accounts Committee. There are so many things that went wrong. Unfortunately, people do that with impunity. They do that with impunity because at the end of the day, they go free. They are not punished. And so, Thursday or so, I was a little bit worried. And so I even granted interview to some media houses. And I was saying that the audit service, and for that matter, the Auditor General, should do us a favor with some of the recommendations that they make. For instance, a procurement breach. And I'll give you an example. Ghana Immigration Service awarded a contract 2.5 or so million Ghana cedi for the construction of a dormitory and a wall at Asim Fosu Training Center. Somewhere down the line, they decided to vary the contract. Then you know what? It's now more than half of the original price has been added to the old price. So it's now 5-point-something million without recourse to the Public Procurement Act. They came there, and the recommendation from the Auditor General was that they should go for retrospective approval. And it ends there. Can you imagine?
That's what the Auditor General gave.
They said
retrospective approval.
They should go for retrospective approval.
In other words,
just go
granted, yes. And then they can move on.
They can move on.
When the project has more than doubled in price.
Yes. There's clearly a breach of the law. And we think that we should just ask them to do ask for a retrospective approval, and we are good to go.
In such instances, do you get to interact as well with the Auditor General and find out why?
So, for instance, before we even started, we met him. And we pointed to him that some of these things they don't help. You can't fight corruption. When somebody goes wrong, all you ask is that go and do retrospective approval.
What did the Auditor General say?
Yeah, he lamented and said that they're going to improve upon their way of recommendation. But you see, there's so much inconsistency. On one hand, you see the Auditor General saying that prosecute the person using Section 40, Section 72 of the Public Procurement Act. On the other hand, you are saying that we should go for retrospective approval. Are the people different?
Are you suggesting the Auditor General, himself has work to do, like cleaning, house cleaning?
A lot. And I've said that on air, and I told them, the officers who were there on Thursday, I told them that I'm not happy with what's going on. The inconsistency is too much. But you can't blame them alone. Now let's also look at our way of doing things, even in Parliament here. Okay? The Public Accounts Committee will sit, and some of these issues that we are looking at, we put them in our reports and take them to the plenary. What people don't know is that our powers are limited as a committee. The House is the rightful place to take major decisions, not the committee. So what we will do is to interrogate the people and present our report to the plenary. And so we will make recommendations. Now, when we make our recommendations, the report is debated, and after the debate, the Speaker will rule. Normally, the Speaker will refer it to, there should be a standing, a special committee to handle it. As we speak, Parliament, we don't have that. So you go debate it, and it ends there. So instances where we have even asked that they should prosecute people, they should take them to court and all of that, once we finish the debate, nothing gets done. And that is my worry. But I was happy that the majority leader raised this issue the last time we had a debate on one of the reports, and said that there's a need for the committee to be set up immediately. So that once we are done with the debates, and once the House agree with the recommendations in there, the document is referred to this committee. And this committee will now liaise with the necessary agencies, the Attorney General's office, the various ministries, to ensure that these individuals are punished. If not that, then I agree with you that yes, we could do better. What I have realized is that some of the infractions are going down because of the embarrassment that people go through when they appear before the committee. And some of them openly will tell you. For instance, 3-4 days before some will even appear, they will ensure that they do the rightful before they come. So if they were supposed to recover some money from some people and they don't do it, and they are served a letter that 3 days time you are supposed to appear before the Public Accounts Committee, you see them rush to get the money before they come. Okay, and they come and say that, oh, we have been able to recover that. So because of that and many other things, the infractions are going down. But I think that we can do better.
But this retrospective bit where people are allowed to do the wrong thing before we, the damage is done. How do we address it? Very briefly.
It's a source of corruption. It's a source of corruption. I mean, if I will get the opportunity to, if you like, vary a contract more than 60%, the law says that it shouldn't go beyond 10%.
Plus, these people, by the way, some may benefit from it, maybe even invest the money and later reinvest.
Exactly.
And so they've still benefited from the wrong.
So for me, if you breach the law, you should go to court and answer. First of all, we'll take the money. Taking the money doesn't mean that you haven't committed a crime. You have committed a crime, but it's possible for us to retrieve the money. So you bring the money and go to court and tell us why you have breached that law. Right. That should be the trend. But that's not what we are seeing, and I think that is worrisome. But I think that once we're able to set up the committee in Parliament, after every report being debated, we can now refer it to the committee, and some of us will follow through. But I have told some of them that I have taken note of some of the infractions. For instance, this variation at the immigration service. It won't end there. I told them that, look, even if they go on retirement, they can still be called back to come and answer questions. And me, I've written some of them down. And Ben, you wait and see. I pray for long life.
Well, you mentioned the GRA. Reverend Dr. Amishadai came to mind, but let's move on. What is the plan, the itinerary for PAC, the Public Accounts Committee, this year? Briefly on that. I mean, what more can we expect?
No, I think we are almost done. So tomorrow we'll sit. And then on the 12th, we are starting with the public boards and corporations for 2022. But some of us joined PAC in 2021 and we had a backlog. But we have worked hard to clear that. So what is now going to happen is that if we're able to do 2022 this year, then we'll be in line with, we'll be on a level ground with the Auditor General, so that as and when they drop the report in Parliament, we do it. So there won't be any backlog. But from 12 onwards, you expect some interesting revelations, because I can...
From the 12th?
Yes, I have the document here. The report is very interesting. Some infractions. And apart from that...
Give us a teaser of what we can expect.
Apart from that...
Give us a teaser of what we can expect. I'd like to know. I'm curious.
Yeah, so,
what can we expect?
But what I'm saying is that the kind of corruption-related matters that we have seen in the 2022 public boards and corporations are very interesting. And we're going to procurement infractions that we're talking about, where somebody will vary a contract. Sole sourcing. You know, sole sourcing was one of the things that Nanado used to castigate and to run down the NDC administration. It made so many promises. Very soon, we'll tell you, we are doing some work with a few of my guys. From 2017 to 2022, we want to list all the sole source contracts. And you see the number of contracts that have gone through sole source. Then we want to list all those that were variations unlawfully, because if you want to vary, you either go to the tender board or you ensure that it doesn't go beyond the required percentage. We'll list all of them very soon, and we'll engage you to see the kind of rot. And that is why today this government cannot talk about corruption. NPP cannot talk about corruption.
Does it surprise you then that we were able to maintain our score on the Corruption Perception Index?
No, we haven't performed.
But we're still at 43.
Yes, we haven't performed. And don't forget, that is for the previous year. Westerns are happening now. And
but the report you're looking at,
yes,
the committee's report feeds into last year.
In any case, Ben, Mahama's worst performance is their best performance.
But if you do the cumulative effect, Mahama retrogressed compared to this administration. No, if you add even from the 46 to the 48, no, I'm just saying cumulatively.
Yes.
If you add all the figures and you do the subtractions, it ends in negative for Mahama. It ends in 0 for
Ben,
unless you are looking at it in terms of high scores
figures and high
scores.
Yes, of course, that's what we should be looking at, because these are annual assessments. Okay, so if you are looking at it from that perspective, that's how you should look at it. I've never seen any report anywhere where they have run it, in aggregation. No, I haven't seen it anywhere. The report they normally would turn out is that is an annual basis. And we are saying that Mahama's worst performance is their best performance. And these are people who were everywhere chanting and making noise about corruption. Corruption under this administration is legendary. And look, they find it difficult to even talk about corruption now. And I can tell you, when it comes to corruption, I can testify that Mahama did certain things that I will never forget of. And I give you one example. I walked to him because somebody had come to me, and this is the first time I'm saying it here, saying that he just won audience with Mahama. There's a corruption allegation against him. He's going through some prosecution. And so he wants to talk to Mahama so that Mahama will just know his side of the story. That's all that he was looking for to do. Then I went to him. I said, bro, so and so is going through this. But he's asked me that you just spare him some time to tell you his side of the story. You know what he told me? Joseph, he's being investigated. He's being prosecuted. He's my brother. I know that he's worked for me. I don't have powers to engage him on matters like this. Let the law take its course. This was his own appointee. Today, tell me, under Akufo-Addo, a single person that they are prosecuted under his watch. One person, tell me. This is a man. He says
they are whistle clean.
This is a man.
If they emerge clean,
they are angels.
why should you?
You have a president.
But each of them.
You have a president where
most of them have been cleared by. Most of them have been cleared by institutions.
Why
of the
wouldn't they
state,
be cleared?
Right?
Why wouldn't they be cleared? They'll be cleared because, for instance, you have Cecilia Dapa, who, when allegations were made against the Ab initio, what the president said was that I have so much trust in her, I know she will come out clean. What they are saying is that state institutions should watch your words. You think those who have been appointed by him, they want a situation where they go contrary to his thoughts and his mind?
I'm going to ask you a pointed question.
So he was just
I'm going to ask you a pointed question.
That is the outcome I wanted.
Hold for me.
Mahama will not do that.
I'm going to ask you a pointed question.
And the difference between the two of them.
I think this is a debate, and I think I just have to put this to bed. For President Mahama, and I had an interview with him, I believe, September the 14th, 2020, and I posed that same question to him.
Okay.
With the journalist posed to him, have you ever been corrupt?
Okay.
And he asked, is it as an individual, is it as a whatever?
Yeah.
Now we've seen Akufo-Addo. Is Mahama corrupt? And if not, is Akufo-Addo corrupt?
Mahama is not corrupt.
Is Akufo-Addo corrupt?
Akufo-Addo is corrupt.
Why?
I have seen evidence of Akufo-Addo taking cash from people. We've all seen it. Tell me, have you ever seen Mahama taking evidence of cash from anybody? That is one.
Which incident
in
are you
the case of
referring
Elijah Abbas and Elijah Abbas's wife and some council of elder, a chief, meeting him and giving him money. He should come out and deny it.
No, but those
he should come out and deny it.
How do they border on corruption?
Oh, when you were... You have not listened to the video?
I believe
where somebody said that I've been sent to you because I want you to keep such a person at post, and so that's why we've come to see you. blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, he's handing over money to you. What was it for?
And that's the evidence you can adduce
what
and
was
say
it for?
that, you know,
that is one.
is corrupt.
Two, I'm saying that in terms of fighting corruption, Mama has demonstrated it. Again, let me tell you, National Service, some wrongdoings took place under him. And they were being investigated. One of them happened to be my cousin. He came to me. Can't bro do anything about this thing. I'm innocent. So please talk to him. I'm innocent. Please talk to him to do something about it. You know? I didn't want a situation where Mama will go home one day and he will meet him and say that I had asked Yusuf to talk to you on this matter. Did he do that? And he will say, oh, he didn't do it. So I went to Mama. When I finished with Mandare, I said, Yusuf, this is a corruption-related matter. And as a president, there's little I can do about it. Let the law take its course. This is Mama talking. He might have forgotten.
Let's conclude on this. Bawumia speaks, Dr. Bawumia will
Yes.
be speaking, talking about how and where he means to take the country to, should he become president. We have elections coming up in 2024. How do you react to these two matters? And then we can conclude.
Bawumia, the least talk about him, the better. I mean, it's a disappointment, not just to his family, but to the whole of the North.
He's a disappointment. He's vice president.
To the whole of the North.
He's vice president.
Yes, I know. If he's a vice president and he's a disappointment to all of us, shouldn't I say it? This is a man who says one thing and do the other. This is a man who promised that in 2 years' time in their administration, every community in this country, every village in this country will not regret for voting for them because they were going to provide